We explain the Renaissance's influence in Northern Europe. As the Black Plague spread north across Europe, the continent found itself with a loss of one-third of its previous population, a declining trust in religious and political authority, and also a rebuilding process that would hold Northern Europe's economy back until after 1450. Unlike the Italian Renaissance, Northern Europe was still dominated by feudal lords and a pretty conservative style of governance. They lacked direct trade relationships to the Mediterranean, which had shaped the life, wealth, and family control of the Italian city-states. The tension between the church and the northern regions was simmering under the surface and led to eventual calls for reform. Like the South, art was at first driven by the need to beautify the churches. However, many of the churches of Northern Europe were stone Gothic or stone Romanesque cathedrals that had limited space for artwork. Northern artistic endeavors centered around detailed realism to fill small spaces of church walls, and also book pages with illuminated illustrations or illuminated art. The great painters centered in Flanders used a wide variety of colors and painted in fine details. Unlike the southern painters, the northern painters painted things as they saw them, rather on the developing rules of perspective. The Northern Renaissance is said to have centered itself in Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. Some sources argue that two of the most important painters of the North were Jan van Eyck and Albrecht Dürer. Humanism also entered the North. Finding itself in a Germanic area already at odds with the leadership in Rome, humanism merged itself with Christianity to create Christian humanism, which is the belief of humanist scholarship and language studies to deep dive into Christianity's meanings. It would theorize a belief in faith that would prioritize bettering humans on earth rather than personal salvation. One of the most influential Christian humanists was Erasmus. In his book, In Praise of Folly, he wrote the chief job of religious people is to show goodwill. Christian humanists wanted to reform the Catholic Church, making it less about rituals and more about message and substance, and to publish the Bible in vernacular languages, returning to basics. His friend Thomas More wrote about the need for social and economic reforms and creating a utopia, where every citizen would live in peace with 100% education, and the justice system worked to eradicate the roots of crime rather than blaming the criminals. Also in Utopia, there would be no private property. In France, they had Rabelais satirizing the wealthy. In England, they had William Shakespeare. Whether or not there was one man who is Shakespeare, his name wrote over 37 plays about universal human themes, and his characters spoke directly to the audience in vernacular. He featured strong, decisive leaders, humans at the mercy of outside forces, and morality stories. This expansion of learning was made possible by North Europe's Johann Gutenberg and his printing press, which opened up a publishing revolution, mass-produced books, and spread new ideas.